Hey guys, this is Josh over at Silver Arrow Service. Today what I'm going to do is take you through a walkthrough of what we do differently than other shops as far as servicing your vehicle. Every vehicle that we work on, whether you come in for an oil change, state inspection, or general checkover, we do what we call a Silver Arrow Service inspection, where we go through the vehicle bumper to bumper. We check any safety items and look for anything that could potentially be a problem in the future. And then we do a detailed inspection report with photographs and videos if necessary, so that you can see in real time exactly what we're looking at and exactly what needs to be done. So today we're working on a 2017 GMC 2500. It's here for just a basic oil service, and we're going to go ahead and road test the vehicle, and then once we get it set up on the lift, I'll take you through what I look at and how I perform my inspection. One of the other things we are going to do in this vehicle is run the liquid moly engine flush additive through the motor. Basically, we add this directly to the engine oil. We run the vehicle for 5 to 10 minutes. It helps to break down any deposits, residue, or gum that's inside the engine that would prevent proper lubrication of the internal components. This is a work truck that gets worked pretty hard. We've been doing this for about 6 months now, and the client has already seen a noticeable difference in the way the vehicle runs and the fuel economy that he gets. So all we're doing is removing the oil cap right now. We'll take the cap off the engine flush and then pour it right into the oil fill. You definitely put the whole bottle in, and once that's in there, you can start the vehicle. Like I said, let it run for anywhere from 5 to 10 minutes. Just enough time for the engine oil to get hot and circulate this through the entire motor. Again, like I said, this is a work truck, so we'll throw a little plug out for Rocky Lafort from ProScapes Landscaping. Specializes in all hardscapes and landscaping needs. Definitely reach out to him if you need anything. So now that we've got the truck in the shop, we went ahead, we did a quick light check. We made sure that we reset the oil light. We're gonna get it all set up on the lift now. We'll pull the dipstick out, pull the oil cap off, and we'll get all situated so when we get up in the air, we can do our oil change and also do a thorough inspection of the vehicle. All right, now that we got the vehicle up on the lift, we're gonna go ahead to our computer. We're gonna pull up the repair order. So we know that this is ProScapes. So we have our inspection here now. As you can see, I have all these items that we are going to go ahead and check while we do this inspection. So we already went ahead and did our light check. We know that our headlights and our tail lights are good. We checked wiper operation. We checked the vehicle for dents. There is a few minor dents on the bed of the truck. We will go ahead and take pictures and add those. There's no chips on the windshield. The rims were good. And then we also have a photo of the dashboard. The reason we do that is because it will record the mileage, and we can also see if there were any warning lights or anything that was illuminated on the dashboard prior to us working on it. That way, if there's, for instance, if there was a check engine light on, maybe we didn't notice it. The client states that the check engine light wasn't on when they dropped it off. We have a record showing that it was. We did road test the vehicle. There were no noise, no vibrations. The vehicle drove nice and straight, and there was nothing else that we wanted to note at this time. There was no warning lights on. We're going to go ahead and inspect our cabin filter. Our AC and our heat worked correctly. All our windows worked. The door locks worked. There was nothing else that we noticed, and the vehicle is due for an oil change at this time, so even though we know it's here for it, we're going to go ahead and mark that red because we're going to do that. A few other things we're going to look at. So the hood shocks, as we can tell, the hood is staying open. We're going to check our air filter and our drive belts. So I'll grab my flashlight. We previously installed a cold air intake on this truck. So as you can tell, we have a clear lid. We can see that the air filter is still nice and red. If this was a dirty filter, it would be black, and we would recommend a cleaning. So nothing we need to do at this time. We're going to go ahead and inspect our drive belt. We're just looking at the ribs right here. We want to make sure that there's no cracks. If there was a bunch of dry rotted cracks, we would go ahead and recommend a belt. We're also going to take a look at the engine itself, looking for any wet spots, any oil leaks, or coolant leaks that we may see. Engine looks nice and dry. Go ahead and check our brake fluid. As you can see, our brake fluid is a kind of like a darker yellow color. It's not needed at this time, but we will recommend a brake fluid service for the next oil change because it'll probably be a bit darker by then. Going to inspect all our fluid levels. So we'll check our power steering fluid right at about the minimum mark, so we may top that off. We're going to go ahead and fill our washer fluid. Our coolant, as we can see, is nice and pink and full. And that about covers it for what we are going to inspect on the top side of the truck. So I'll go ahead and finish filling out that part of my inspection, and then we'll go up and we'll go over the suspension and brakes and tires. One of the other things we always look at too is the inspection sticker on the truck. We want to make sure that the inspection sticker is not expired and that the client's not due for an inspection when we can get it in. In the state of New Hampshire, we can do an inspection sticker 2 months early. So if this was an 8, we could go ahead and do an inspection now and save the client from having to come back in 2 months. So it's one thing that we always try to look at while we're doing these inspections. Another thing we're going to look at is we're going to go ahead and look at our tires. We're going to make sure that they're nice and smooth. We don't feel any high spots in them. I'm going to grab my tread depth gauge as well. So we have a tread depth gauge here, which is going to go ahead and put it right here, press it down till it's flat, and then we'll go ahead and look at the numbers. We got 8:30 seconds left on these tires, so that's basically telling me that these tires are about brand new. Most brand new tires have anywhere between 10 to 12, 30 seconds of life. We're going to go ahead and do that on all 4 tires, and then we are doing a tire rotation as well, so we're going to pull the tires off and we measure the inside and the outside brake pads. So I'll show you how to do that once I get the tires off the vehicle. For it here is we have this tool that tells us the thickness of the brake pads, and so what we're going to do is we're going to look inside here and you can see where the metal backing of the brake pad is and then the actual brake pad material. So we slide this tool up against the rotor and we measure what the thickness of the pads are. So I'm going to start with an 8mm. And as you can see, it's about exactly the thickness, maybe a little less. So that tells me that these brake pads are roughly new. And we can also go ahead and check the inside pad, which if you look, I think we're probably about 7:30 seconds. 7mm, I mean. And I think a brand new brake pad on these is about 10mm. So that tells us that we have plenty of life left. We also like to take a look at the edge of the rotor, make sure we don't have any high spots or real deep grooves in it, which can cause some squealing or some pulsation. But these brakes seem to look very good. While we're in here, we're going to go ahead and check our ball joints. We can check our tie rods, make sure none of the boots are ripped We're also looking at any bushings that are in the truck. We want to make sure there's no dry rot or cracks. And then as you can see, a few of these joints have some grease fittings. So we'll clean those out. We'll go ahead and grease everything while we're in here. And overall, this side of the truck looks good. We're gonna move to the back. We'll check the rear brake pads and I'll go over what I look for there. And then basically we repeat the same process over on the right side of the truck. So as you can see, the rears are pretty much the same. If I remember correctly, I think we did front and rear brake pads about 10,000 miles ago on this truck. So same thing, check the rotors, check the pads, everything looks nice. The shocks aren't leaking, and overall the truck looks like it's in very good shape. So we'll go ahead, we'll go up a little more, we'll check out the underside of the truck, and then we'll complete the oil change, and I'll show you what the finished inspection report looks like as soon as we get the oil draining. So on the underside of the truck, a couple of the things we're going to look at is the rear brakes. You want to make sure you don't see any oil or anything in here because it does have wheel seals on the inside of the brake rotor that keep the oil for the differential inside. We're going to take a look at our pinion seal, which as you can see is nice and dry. We'll also go ahead and move the U-joints. Make sure we have no play in the U-joints on the drive shaft. Our rear pinion seal up here on the transmission is also good. Again, check your U-joints. Same thing on the front drive shaft. U-joints are good. Check our transmission, which again, we know we service this transmission 30,000 miles. It is a plow truck that does tow trailers as well. So we prefer to do the transmission fluid every 30,000 miles, along with our differentials. As you can see, diffs, transfer case, transmission, oil pan, and our front diff are all nice and dry. Our front differential is right up here. So we have no oil leaks. Our suspension's all nice and tight. Our ball joints are tight, so we're gonna go ahead, do the oil change, and we'll wrap up our inspection. I don't see anything on this truck that needs to be addressed at this time, so we'll go from there. So now what we'll do is, I've completed the inspection, so we'll send it up front to the service advisor. He will then build an estimate for whatever repairs are recommended, and then he can actually share this inspection with the client. And as you can see, it will give you this detailed report of everything we found. It highlights the yellow, the red, and then the green. And as you scroll through the inspection, you'll actually be able to see the photos that I've taken, and you can see what we recommended, or just like for this instance, I just wanted the client to know that everything was good. So we took some pictures to show them that the pad life and the tires were in good shape. So the client will receive this detailed inspection report. They'll also receive a detailed estimate as to the repairs, and then they will be able to go in and accept or decline the repairs at that time. So that's what we do on every vehicle, regardless of what it's here for. If you have any questions, feel free to give us a call, 603-566-2075, Make sure to check us out on Facebook or silverarrowservice.com. Thanks for watching.